Well, let's talk now, I'm delighted to say, to the actor Brian Cox, who's a champion of independence for Scotland. He joins me now from London. Very good morning to you, Brian, and I'll explain for you why you're in London and not in Scotland, because I know you're appearing in that excellent play, The Weir, there in the heart of the West End, so we'll excuse you that. But what do you say to people who say, oh, well, Brian Cox and others, they really shouldn't talk about Scottish independence because they don't live here full-time?
Well, that's a fair enough argument, but the thing is, I think in the last 5 years, I've spent more time in Scotland than I have during the time I was living there. I'm the rector of Dundee University. I spend a lot of time in Scotland, most of my time in Scotland when I'm here in these islands. And as I get older, I suppose I've got the homing instinct. You know, I'm the homing pigeon that wants to come back. No, I mean, I grew up in Scotland. I think I've got a very good historical perspective on it because when I grew up, Scotland was very much North Britain. I mean, we had just come through... I mean, people always seem to forget that the 20th century was marred by two major wars which stopped any real progress happening because of the depression of the 1930s, the recovery after the First World War, and certainly the big opportunity was the wonderful things that the Attlee government achieved immediately after the Second World War. But then that became eroded systematically over the coming 50, 60 years. So in a sense, I see a new Scotland as a new start, and that's why I think an independent Scotland is very important. And what worries me is that it's the apathy that worries me, because I think people just can't be bothered. They're just saying, oh, I don't want to be bothered, so let's just vote no. And I think actually yes is very positive, because it's actually in every aspect, education, commerce, every aspect, we can have new beginnings.
Talk to me, it's interesting what you said there about your regrowing, I suppose, sense of Scottishness. I remember watching an interview with the late Richard Harris. He said that about his native Ireland. As he got older, having travelled the world, all the different roles you actors play, perhaps you begin to slightly lose your identity, but it's coming back to you now.
Well, I think it's, when you're young, I mean, when I was a kid, I couldn't wait to cross the Tay. I'm from Dundee, I'm a Dundonian, I'm an East Coast Scot too. And I couldn't wait to cross the Tay, and I crossed the Tay, and I crossed the Atlantic, and I've crossed many oceans since. And I have got a sense of the world, and living in America certainly gives me a sense of what goes on in America, and also living here, part of the time gives me a sense of what's going on here. So I've sort of gained experience, and my experience tells me that right where I came from, and now it's the opposite experience. I can't wait to get home because of something which is particular to the Scottish character and something that makes me incredibly proud. And it seems to me the logical step is that we do have our own nation, and we deserve it. And it's been a long time coming.
Doesn't Scotland, in a way, have the best of both worlds at the moment? Significant powers under devolution, perhaps more to come after this referendum, even if it is no. But still, that link with, who are kith and kin in many cases, that link across the border to England, not just England, but to Wales and Ireland as well.
Dermot, it's fine if this system is great. If the political system in the United Kingdom was great, I would agree with you. But unfortunately, the political system of the you just had Ken Livingstone on earlier, and he was absolutely right. What is missing is a sense of the particular. In England, if we talk about England, London, where I am now, this isn't England. Everybody says, oh, London, England. It's not. It's London, London. England is England and London is London. London has always been a separate principality. And England gets the tap end of the bath, quite frankly, politically and socially and economically. They're always talking about the great North and South divide. One of the best things that could have happened to the English Parliament is if it moves to somewhere like Wolverhampton. And we actually, like they have in Canada, like they have in America, Washington, Ottawa, Canberra, and Australia. And I think, in a sense, I agree with you if that was the state, but it isn't the state. We have a broken political system, and it's been broken for a very, very, very long time.
Just clear this up once and for all. On the voting again, Brian, I mean, you have a residence in Scotland. Are you going to be eligible to vote or what?
No, I can't. I mean, I'm the rector and I spend a lot of time there, but I don't, I'm not, I don't have a base in Scotland as such. I spend my time, mind you, the hotel business does very well out of me in Scotland.
But what about that argument then? And it's been said of Sir Sean Connery as well. When it comes to those honours you've gained, a CBE that's got British Empire in it, and Sir Sean with his knighthood, would you think in an independent Scotland you ought to hand them back?
Well, no, because we're still going to be part of the empire. We're not losing the Queen. We've got the Queen still. So in a sense, it's the package.
OK, well, good to talk to you, Brian. Thank you very much indeed for your time, and best of luck with the Weir. That's Brian Cox there, of course, with a rather novel recommendation there, moving the Parliament to the north, to Wolverhampton. That's one to conjure with.